breathe, so I'm gonna get to it. This piece is called Ebola. It's time to wake up. Tutu sat alone. I say alone because the ravaged body that lay in front of her was no longer her mother. She had watched on as her mother had gradually slipped under this life. Disfigured and transformed, she no longer recognized her. Her beauty had been the first to retreat at the sign of illness, followed not long after that by her faith. Her features gaunt and fatigued by sickness, the face that once had been stalked by compliments everywhere it went, was long gone. The little girl knew what was coming, but still she could not leave. She had become her constant nurse, the unfortunate witness victim to her mother's suffering, overwhelmed by guilt and shame, that her child should endure the pain of her own illness, her own sickness. Her mother's feeble voice had often urged her to go outside and play with her friends, or even better, to depart this cruel land entirely. But they both knew in their hearts that there was nowhere for her to go. The shadow had arrived quickly, first upon whispered rumors, then clothed in shaman rhetoric. But by the time ignorance was disproved, the stigma had bore immovable roots, and it was all too late. Fear, that ever-present charlatan, with its cloak of superstition, its camouflage of mystery, disguised its fatal intentions until the end. The darkness was now firmly fixed and intent upon their home. The others in the village had shunned them. A vile, veiled quarantine had been erected and manned and marshaled by determined machetes. She could not even go out to get firewood without provoking their vehement fury. Hungry and lost, life had turned putrid. Silence was now Tuti's only companion in her tiny hut. Tears streaming down her face, she knelt beside her mother's now dead body. She was now an orphan trapped in this disastrous haven, her only refuge from stigma. And then it arrived at Tuti's first cough. Soon, the internal and external bleeding would collude in a pussy mixture of bodily fluids, red eyes giving way to blood, and blood and vomit, and bloody diarrhea, and at the end, she would die. The vile guile of this universe's conspired malice seemingly has no end. It's bound, it has no restraints, it has no timidity. Its perfectly manicured and disguised architecture both denounce and showcase man's infinite cruelty. I rage, I fury, I'm fucking angry, yo! I froth, the cruelty that feeds on itself, on delusions of self. Even more than this, the truly original pathology is that we sit in our righteousness. With our bullshit ice bucket challenges and all that shit. With our Facebook walking of the dead metaphors, jokes. Yeah, we've all pressed like. Okay, I need to breathe. Lest my fury overflow into something beyond a wordy tirade. I know your patience and your time are precious, as it's still happy hour upstairs, and you have to get back to your iPhone selfie intoxicated adventures. So I will try to wrap this up in some pink bow tie that you guys will understand and comprehend. But it's hard. There's a genocide. There's a genocide, and we're all accomplices. A moral genocide. As thousands upon thousands die, we sit by aimlessly, our hearts impervious, our souls damned, our hell-bound train tickets purchased and guaranteed. Yeah. We do sometimes like some charitable donations, some masturbation, some gesture. But truth be told, our ears only perk up when we hear a nearby danger. Yeah, that was for you. The Fox CNN chimera that's camped in some Texas hotel or hospital. Something that's happening on the news that I saw yesterday. I mean, I could easily continue on this Jon Stewart-like rant about the media and how it leads us on some immorality that runs 24/7. But shit, man, they're just reporting what we want to hear. They say that when a child dies in Africa, it's just death. In Asia, it's sad. But when it happens in the West, yeah, that's genocide. It's messed up, right? I'm not saying that I don't give a fuck. I mean, I'm not saying I don't give a fuck about Western lies. It's just that my giving a fuck has to be both proportional and rational. Ebola, wake the fuck up.